Engraved grief. Inspired out of Job 19. Oh, that my words were recorded, that they were engraved in rock forever. I have no heat. It is California cold. After receiving the devastating diagnosis of a rare and incurable brain cancer, Carolyn found renewed hope and purpose through providing a unique service, volunteering photography services for critically ill children and their families. Through this service, families could capture the precious moments shared with their children, both in grief and the moments of grace and beauty we assume don't exist in those desperate places. She observed that in the hardest moments imaginable, those families choose to love despite and because of it all. There's something unspeakably powerful about capturing the truth of grief, both the devastating reality of it and the ways in which we experience beauty and hope in the midst of it. I've raised cattle and had rescue dogs. I've had easily 30 dogs in my possession over time, not all together. And I've raised sheep and goats. It's right there, you know you're going to end up with death. As soon as you enter the sheep realm, you're dealing with death right off the get-go. The sheep wake up every day and think how they're going to kill themselves. But over time, through doing this for 15, 20 years, and then you have animals that you know are going to die. Maybe they're sick, they're ill, something wrong, and they linger or whatever. My horse, I don't know if I mentioned it before I put my horse down, back in 5-6 months ago. But she was terrible arthritis, finally went down, couldn't get back up, it's terrible. But through all the death that I've seen through these little animals and such, livestock and all this, you really can become hardened to it when you can't anticipate it. When I lost my little white dog when she was killed by a coyote, that just broke my heart. That was just a total shocker. But most every animal that's died out here, I knew it was coming. And over time, you just become so hard to it, not in an unmerciful way. It's just like, okay, we got to get this over with, or it's just, it's coming. Just like with my horse, when it was finally her time, it was a relief because she'd been in pain for such a long time. But when I read this, when it says the moments of grace and beauty we assume don't exist in those desperate places, there's something unspeakably powerful about capturing the truth of grief, both the devastating reality of it and the ways in which we experience beauty and hope in the midst of it. I hope that's true. I'm just talking about family stuff. This is terrible. Far be it from, livestock. But seeing this, I've buried so many animals, or I've had this stuff. You just get, it's just, But in some ways, I wonder if that's not good, because I'm just hard to it. It's just it's like an inconvenience almost. If a guy across the street who needs to put his dog down, she's 110 years old and just falling apart. And at some point, I know he can't do it. And I told him, you call me, I'll come over and take care of it. But even then, you know it's going to happen, so it's not a surprise. But you just get so hard to it. It doesn't. I don't know if that's good. That's all I'm saying. Much of the book of Job is like a photograph of grief, capturing honestly Job's journey through devastating loss. After sitting with Job for several days, his friends, wearied of his grief, resorting to minimizing it or explaining away as God's judgment. But Job would have none of it, insisting that what he was going through mattered, and wishing that the testimony of his experience would be engraved in rock forever. Through the book of Job, it was engraved in a way that points us in our grief to the living God, who meets us in our pain, carrying us through death into resurrection life. I typically, when I read Job, the only thing I get out of it is like chapter 36, when God actually speaks. And it sends chills up your spine, because you're listening what these guys are going through, and his friends are telling him all kinds of stuff, this and that. And God shows up and he says, who's talking? Who are you doubting? It's not the response you expect. But he don't come off as Santa Claus. But it's really powerful. It's a good read. If you go to Job, and it's like 36, chapter 35, verse 36, I think it is. And who's this that doubts my counsel or questions me? Who are you questioning me? And then God explains, this is who I am. You know who you're talking to? It's big. I know I've lost this thing already. Where am I at here? Probably ruined it. Though the book of Job, it was engraved in a way that points us in our grief to the living God, who meets us in our pain, carrying us through death into resurrection life. I'm not going to say that. That would be too... Oh, never mind. How can facing pain honestly bring healing? I don't know, because when you're in pain, I've been in pain before. We get very narrow focus at that point. When have you experienced unexpected grace and beauty within great grief? I can't answer that. Compassion to God, help me to witness honestly to those who are experiencing pain and offer the hope you provide. I'll just leave that there. Love you. God bless.